Ooh. Hello, how we doing? Just a very short stream. I've not even told anyone that I'm streaming. In a way, I hope no one comes, um, because I just want it to be a short stream. I'm just recovering from the Rona. I feel okay. Still a bit of a cough left, but on the main, I feel all right. Just wanted to jump on. Just can't be asked. Be on Twitter, so I thought, you know what, I feel all right. Let's jump on. Let's see the voice. Got my water. Got my coffee. Coffee will keep me awake. Water keep me lubricated. I know Luna's coming in a bit. She said she's coming, but yeah, no plan. Oh, hello, Rumble. Yeah, thanks for being here. Not that there's any kind of plan for this. Right, yeah, I want to talk about Murdoch and the whole thing around Gloria Satterfield and her death. So it's going to be a short video. Um, Thanks, Rumble. You're the best. Genuinely, like, top notch. I don't know where you guys pop up from. I mean, I still don't know, but thanks for being here. Um, right, let's get back from that then. Got that one. Right. Okay, so that's found it. Yeah, I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not gonna promote this. As I say, apart from a couple I've got on Rumble now, I'm quite happy for no one to be here. Gonna talk about Alex Murdoch and Gloria Satterfield very quickly. I'm not going to speak too much about it. It's going to be Peter Trigos who speaks about it. So he did a video this morning my time. Yeah, I don't even know. When did he make it? 2 hours ago, which is about 2 p.m. my time, but so it'll be morning for him, about 9 a.m. for him. So, sorry, it's afternoon for me then. So I got it here. That. Oh, I'll take it back. I was going to listen just myself, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I invite my friends? Talk with my friends. Right, let me just get this one. Right. So I'll play the video. I got a text her. Bloody hell. Let me just text her. You there now. Hang on, Rumble. I will. It's a video, it is. Literally, it's going to be half an hour. That's it. So don't worry about it. Uh, Even though I feel okay, mine's still not 100%. It can't be. Um, there's a one man help to save a town from a hurricane on Rumble if you want to watch that. Okay. Right, okay, let's get it here now. I'll text them now. I'm not tweeting this out. I um don't want people here. So Rumble, obviously, I don't mind, and whoever else is here, but I mean, what I don't want is like loads of fucking shit being spoken about. But yeah, we're gonna play the Pete Tragos video right now. If we can, I haven't done this for a week, and I'm bloody getting old. Don't remember what to do. I got obviously got my own thoughts about this, but I mean, look, Peter knows this case much better than anybody. So, no. Which one is it, Alan? Right, well, that's a fuck up. That's not supposed to happen. Why have I done my own screen for? Present. Oh, what's the video called? Murdaugh, Gloria, Oh, that's what I used on the bloody wrong one. Oh, yeah, I had Alex Murdaugh up and it was Rumble, not bloody Peter Trios. Oh, right. I've been blabbing on for 6.5 minutes for no reason. So if people don't know Peter Trios, he's my favourite lawyer. He's my favourite follow online. If you ever want an honest, impartial recap, then he's the guy. I mean, I'd love to have him on this channel, like in about 10 years, when we got like, maybe 2,000 subscribers or something, the right way going. But no. Hi guys, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on YouTube now. There's someone on YouTube, but they're not chatting. But if you're on YouTube, feel free to chat. If I'm speaking, support normally people from Rumble, but feel free to say hi, whoever's here. Um, don't bite, or unless you know who I am. Right, so here we go. Fuck right off. Right, paused it. What's going on? Right, why is this not working?
What's up, everybody? This is a bit of an impromptu video because I've seen some stuff come in, updates on Alec Murdaugh, more financial crimes charged, crimes coming out of the trial that we already had recently, stacking on top of Alex Murdaugh. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about Gloria Satterfield and her case and the claims that were made and the settlements that were paid and how it could all be blowing up here and could seriously affect her family and her loved ones. And again, all of this is surrounding Alec Murdaugh's lies, his fraud, his theft, and how he would do anything to get his hands on more and more money, regardless of the crimes he would have to commit and regardless of the people he would have to hurt. Because an amended complaint was filed. His
Hi, Stacey. It's just you. That's fine. I thought it might be you or Gio or somebody. Good morning. Good afternoon here. This is just an impromptu stream, Stacey. Oh, you haven't got Twitter, have you? So, Stacey, I had the Rona. So I'm literally just, this is my first day that I'm feeling okay since last Thursday, to be quite honest. I've been basically in bed or on the sofa for most of the week until today. Still got chesty stuff, but I'm mainly okay. So it's only with short stream, basically just discussing the whole Alex Murdaugh, Gloria Satterfield, where he's now saying that the dogs did not trip Gloria up over the stairs and stuff like that. So that's what this discussion is about. In case you think, what the hell are we doing here? But that's mainly it essentially. So with that, I'll play it. Say it's about half an hour, brief discussion, but I'm not on here for long. I don't think it could last too long, to be quite honest. But thanks for being here as always, Stace. Appreciate you.
answer was then filed, which revealed more fraud. And this is bad for Gloria Satterfield and her family and her case, her estate, I should say. And you want to know how it's bad and how I know it's bad? Is her lawyer is tweeting about it. And while he doesn't say some of this in his tweet, we get a very good context and understanding as to how he feels about what's going on here and how it may affect his client. So we're going to talk about all that and more. And I'm going to answer some questions that you all already had on Twitter. This is not a live. This is a pre-recorded video, but I am going to be in the comments. I'm going to try to be in the live chat. So put your questions in the comments and let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button on this video. Make sure you subscribe to our page. We're pushing to 250K, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But let's jump into it, and we're going to get the context of this immediately as we take a look at the complaint. And we're going to read the factual allegations of the complaint, and then we are going to read the charges. Here's the amended complaint: Nautilus Insurance Company, Richard Alec Murdaugh, and other people. Factual allegations. Nautilus issued an umbrella policy providing
Off
$5
screen,
million
so you might
to
even
Murdaugh.
see it
On
clearer.
February 2nd, Gloria Satterfield fell and died.
Not really.
Murdaugh made a claim for coverage under the policy with regard to the claims against him, purportedly on behalf of the estate of Miss Satterfield. Nautilus provided defense counsel for Murdaugh, and they paid in excess of $75,000. Beginning in July and continuing, Nautilus became aware for the first time, July of 21, for the first time, of facts regarding Satterfield's claims.
You can't see
Allegations of
clearly.
insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and allegations of criminal conduct. The irregularities include: it was Murdaugh who approached the Satterfield family after the death of Gloria Satterfield and suggested that they sue him and collect from his insurance companies, including Nautilus. Very unusual, not something you see normally. Murdaugh arranged for
Murdaugh,
Fleming,
you know?
his longtime close friend, and MKF to represent the Satterfield family in bringing a claim against the insurance company. Murdaugh and Fleming arranged Westdorf to serve as the personal representative of the estate of Gloria Satterfield in exchange for a fee, as they had previously done with other officers and directors at Palmetto, effectively removing the Satterfield family from the proceeding. Unbeknownst to Nautilus, Murdaugh was not a bona fide insured seeking coverage, but rather was coordinating the handling of the claim with Fleming, including sending correspondence related to the case on Murdaugh's firm letterhead and preparing and delivering disbursement sheets, such as Fleming and Murdaugh were effectively co-counsel. Murdaugh pressured Nautilus to settle the claim. This happens sometimes in cases if you really don't want to get sued and you want them to settle the claim. Well, this was fraud. He's pushing his insurance company to basically pay him, threatening a suit for bad faith against Nautilus if it refuses to pay policy limits. To take a second to break this down, if you are the defendant in a case and the plaintiff offers to settle the case within the policy limits for a reasonable amount of money, and your insurance company says no, but you want to settle because you don't want to pay any money out of pocket, and they go to trial, like in this case, Murdaugh says you better settle within this $5 million, because if they go to trial, and let's say they go to trial on Satterfield's case and the jury gives them $10 million, well, the insurance company is going to pay $5, and then the other $5 million is on Murdaugh. So what can Murdaugh do in that situation, or any defendant? They can file a bad faith claim against Nautilus or against their insurance company saying, you had the chance to settle the case within the policy limits to protect your insured, which is me, and you refuse to do so. So I'm not paying that extra $5 million. You are. So when you threaten things like that as a defendant, you put pressure on your insurance company to settle and protect you, which is what Murdaugh did in this case. And he obviously knows how this is done as a plaintiff's lawyer, as would I. That Murdaugh was abusive toward Nautilus adjuster handling the claim and demanded Nautilus pay its full policy limits, threatening that if the case against him were filed and went to trial, he would admit liability and the judgment would be substantial. So basically saying, I would throw the case as the defendant. I would help the plaintiff. I would help the plaintiff's lawyers. I would tell them what happened. I would tell them how great Gloria is. I would tell them how much money I was paying her and how much her life was worth, which is way in excess of this policy. Give us the money. Seems really nice, right? And he's helping out the Satterfields, right? Well, not really. He's doing it so he can get that money. That the monies contributed by Nautilus as a result of the foregoing in the settlement claims by the Satterfield family were deposited by Fleming into MKF trust account, but were never received by the Satterfield family. Fleming dispersed the funds minus the fees in an account created by Murdaugh in the name of Forge and controlled by Murdaugh. We know all about that. No effort was made by Westdorf, Palmetto, Fleming, or MKF to ensure that the funds intended for Ms. Satterfield family were received by the Satterfields, violating their obligation regarding escrow funds. Okay. Then there were irregularities. Murdaugh and others, including Fleming, coordinated to basically steal the insurance money. Immediately following Satterfield's fall on February 2nd, here's the big paragraph, right? When we get to Murdaugh's response, we need to know what paragraph 17 said. So pay attention here. The irregularities shown a different light on some of the facts and circumstances surrounding the claim, such that it is now apparent these facts and circumstances were misrepresentations and concealments of the truth, were deceitful and were intended to mislead, obscure, and dissemble, including that immediately following Gloria Satterfield's fall on February 2nd, Murdaugh rushed to the scene, arriving before EMS. On March 29th, Murdaugh stated that Ms. Satterfield briefly regained consciousness, during which time she stated that Murdaugh's dogs had caused her to fall. This statement was heard by no one else and is contradicted by Ms. Satterfield's later statement to hospital staff that she had no idea what made her fall. So this happens all the time. Someone passes, it's a wrongful death claim, but they made statements to people before they passed. Some of those statements are memorialized in medical records, or they can be explained by EMS staff. This is what the person said, or witnesses at the scene, like Alex Murdaugh. Well, everything else said she didn't know what made her fall. The duty is on the plaintiff to prove what made you fall. You can't just say I fell and it must be somebody else's fault. You've got to say there was a spill on aisle 5. They never cleaned it up. I walked through, unbeknownst to me, slip on it. It was clear liquid. Or the dogs were running around the house. They tripped me. I fell. You can't just say, I have no idea. Maybe I missed a step, because that would not be anybody else's negligence. That would just be your negligence. And that is of the utmost importance, because if they cannot prove that there was some negligence on the homeowner, Alec Murdaugh, something that was happening at the house that he controlled or could have controlled, then there is no claim. If Gloria Satterfield missed a step or has no idea how she fell, she cannot prove that there was negligence on behalf of someone else, which is the hook to get the insurance policy, to get the insurance money. And this is why I say this is so important to Gloria Satterfield, her family, her lawyers, why her lawyers are saying this is absolutely not true. Because if it is true that this is how it happened and there was no dogs and she doesn't know what happened, then they have money that should have never been given to them. And it was only given to them because of the fraud and the lies of Alec Murdaugh. So that's the context we're reading all this in.
So this is why I want to hear from Peter. He's very impartial. He's got no alliance either side. If you go and watch other lawyers, they literally are either for the defense or for the prosecution. I think he's very well balanced. So Stacey, whoever, if you don't follow him, then you really should, because he's a go-to guy for anything when it comes to actually breaking down stuff like this. So Lawyer You Know is his channel, as you can see. Oh, my logo's covering it, but it is the Lawyer You Know. So anyway, sorry.
On March 29th, Murdaugh claimed Ms. Satterfield was at his property not to perform work for Murdaugh and his family, but to collect a check for work performed for someone else, avoiding the workers' compensation defense. So again, these are all the legal intricacies of how a civil case works. If you get hurt at work, work comp is primary, if the employer has work comp, right? But then secondary, there could still be a third-party negligence, which would come into play, but they wouldn't cover lost wages or medical bills. It would just be pain and suffering in certain jurisdictions. So they want to bypass work comp. They
He's
want to
the best,
bypass
Stacey.
liability
The
by anybody else
best.
because they know where the deep pockets are. Murdaugh knows his own insurance is the deep pockets. That's what he's going after, not for Gloria Satterfield or her family, but for himself. And he's pressuring the deep pockets to pay. Murdaugh claimed, avoiding workers' comp. Murdaugh stated to multiple third parties in Hampton County that he was liable for Gloria Satterfield's fall and ultimate death, an admission against interest that all but ensured that there could be no challenge to liability, and securing his ability to force Nautilus to contribute settlement funds that Murdaugh and the co-conspirators stole. That, to me, is locked and loaded.
Right, I've removed the logo, so that's his channel, The Lawyer You Know. He's a lawyer, Stacey. He's based in Florida. He's more white crime, like people that have accidents. So he doesn't do criminal, he does civil. I believe. His father as well is on the channel a lot, and he was well, he is still a big time lawyer. Um, he's definitely someone that you should subscribe to because you like breakdowns, and he comes on most days with breakdowns. So he never does a live stream. That's why he come to me for that. But for the actual breakdowns of stuff, you don't come to me for that. You go to someone like him. So he normally does one every evening, about some case or other. This one now was, for instance, 27 minutes this morning. He made this one, but very, very informative. Well worth subscribe, Stace. So, but yeah, I think you'd love his father as well. His father's very popular as well whenever he comes on. So they're very funny.
That's exactly what I think happened. Now, what really happened, what caused her fall, I don't know. Maybe it was the dogs, maybe it was something else. But I think Murdaugh was doing everything he could to set up a factual scenario
Don't
that made
leave me
his
for him
insurance
now,
company pay as
remember?
much as possible to him, not to her, not to her family. Murdaugh filed a proposed confession of judgment on March 24th, 2022. Prior thereto, co-receivers were appointed by the state court in Hampton to administer Murdaugh's assets and claims against Murdaugh. The order appointing the co-receivers purports to require that any party obtain leave of the state of consent from the co-receivers prior to suing Murdaugh outside of the jurisdiction. Though disputing the validity of that requirement in the state court's order, Nautilus obtained the consent of counsel for the co-receivers prior to suing Murdaugh in this action. So it seems like Bland and Richter potentially knew this was coming and were cool with it. And apparently, everybody hopes that Nautilus goes and collects this money from Murdaugh, right? Obviously, nobody wants them to collect the money from Satterfield. More on that later. First cause of action, fraud. What did he do? On March 22nd, he represented to Nautilus that he sought coverage under the policy in order to protect himself from losses in the Satterfield estate, or to the Satterfield estate in this action. In fact, it was himself who sought to obtain payment. On March 22nd, he stated to an independent adjuster with the intent that Nautilus would rely on his representation that shortly after the purported fall, Satterfield told him the dogs caused their fall. Again, he's telling these lies over and over again to make sure that Nautilus pays and they pay him. Second cause of action, conspiracy. And they go through the parties. Third cause of action, Unfair Trade Practices Act. Fourth, a declaratory judgment. Okay, so those are the causes of action that they're filing. So now, let's look at Murdaugh's answer. He has answered this amended complaint and dropped some bombshells, some legitimate bombshells here. Okay, admits and denies some of the paragraphs, especially 1 through 8, which is just who the parties were, things like that. He's unaware of when Nautilus became aware of certain facts. Admits, who was appointed counsel and when. But here's the big one. Paragraph 8. The allegations of paragraph 17. Remember, we said we're going to focus on paragraph 17. Are editorial comments requiring no answer. Regarding the further allegations under paragraph 17, here we go. Defendant admits that the allegations of paragraph 17, A and B, no dogs were involved in the fall of Gloria Satterfield on February 2nd, 2018. After Ms. Satterfield's death, the defendant invented Ms. Satterfield's purported statement that dogs caused her fall to force his insurer to make settlement payment. And he stated that she was not on the property to perform work. He admits, paragraph C, except that the defendant denies the existence of any conspiracy to improperly cause Nautilus to pay a fraudulent claim. He admits, paragraph 18. Further, he admits that he did state Ms. Satterfield was not on the property at the time of her fall to perform work. However, he doesn't recall why she was there 5 years later now. So we don't know. It could have been work. It might not have been work, but you better believe he was going to make sure he said it wasn't work for a specific purpose at that time to avoid workers' compensation insurance to come in, as opposed to just suing his own insurance, admitting liability, making it the worst case possible for his insurance company, meaning they had to pay. He admits to stealing the money. We know that. There was one part I wanted to read here. Okay, so he's got a second defense. And just how scummy is this, right? Plaintiff has failed, meaning Nautilus, has failed to join necessary parties. Specifically, Eric Bland, Ronnie Richter, Bland Richter. Those are the lawyers for the Satterfields. Tony Satterfield, individually and his capacity as personal representative of the estate of Gloria Satterfield and Brian Harriet. So what does he mean there? He says they need to add these parties, the lawyers, the law firm, and the beneficiaries, because they are the ones that received the money that should have never been paid out. So the attorney's fees and the damages paid to the estate, Nautilus should go get that money back. How scummy is that? I mean, on his way down, he's dragging these people with him.
I would say this about Tragos though. He is friends with Richter and Eric Bland and stuff. And this is why I disagree with him. I do agree with him that they shouldn't go after the Satterfield money. I think that's too late now. But 100% Eric Bland and Richter, wherever his name is, are culpable as well because at the end of the day, they knew that Alex Murdaugh was a liar and they basically shouted from the rooftops that he's a liar throughout all of this, except for this one case that he was telling the truth on. So they knew something this would happen. So I don't 100% agree with what Peter says there, but I do agree that they shouldn't go after the money, the settlement now. But I'm 100% behind them to get some compensation of money back from Eric Bland and Richter. You know, fuck them because they knew there was something dodgy going on here, but they were more interested in the money, in my opinion, anyway. So that's the only thing I don't quite 100% agree with him.
That he has already done everything he could. I don't want to say ruin their lives because their mother passed and that was a difficult situation, but to be the worst officer of the court, lawyer, friend that he could have possibly been to them, well, it's not stopping just because he's in prison for the rest of his life. They have recovered over $7.5 million. Nautilus, if Nautilus should have never, if Nautilus never should have made any payment to the Satterfield estate and only attempted to do so because it was the victim of fraud, then the parties in possession of the recovery of the money allegedly stolen from Nautilus are necessary parties to an action by Nautilus for recovery of that money because A, the court cannot accord complete relief among the existing parties, meaning you can't just come get it from me, Alec Murdaugh. And those persons and entities claim an interest relating to the subject of this action, and their absence will leave existing parties subject to a substantial risk of incurring double, multiple, or otherwise inconsistent obligations because of that interest. So what he's saying there, which does make some legal sense, right? And there is some legal sense to this. If the Satterfields came after Murdaugh for $7.5 million or whatever it is, and he paid that to them through whatever means, even being forced to by the court, it would be unfair and double payment for him to then have to pay that money also back to Nautilus, which again does make sense, but he is just hammering the Satterfields on the way out, which is just mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing to me that he would do this, even for Alec Murdaugh. So what does this mean? This means
I don't think he's doing it just for Satterfield. I think he's just doing it to go two fingers up to people like Eric Bland that called him a liar throughout it. It's like, fuck you then. I'll bring you down with me. So I don't know. I don't know.
that Nautilus may have a legitimate claim to get their money back.
It
And if
don't.
they do, legally, it could come out of the Satterfield and their attorney's pockets. Now, luckily, I don't know if I'll say luckily, right? Because I know how some of you feel about our system, especially how Alec Murdaugh and Tom Girardi and other lawyers misuse it and create these issues with their money and their power. But our system is a system of justice. And I would be absolutely shocked if a scenario was created to take money from the Satterfields and their attorneys and give it back to an insurance company in a situation like this. I do not see how the interests of justice would force something like that. If they could get something to settle from Murdaugh's estate, at least the 75 grand they paid for attorney's fees, great. And here's another reason why. And you're going to see where Eric Bland stands on this, regardless of what you think about him. I know some people love him in the chat, some people don't. That's fine. It's your prerogative. I've never
Piece of
met him. I
shit.
did meet Ronnie
Oh, okay.
Richter, and he's a scratch golfer, so I'd love to golf with him. I don't know them personally. I've only interacted with Ronnie. He seems like a very good dude. But again, people are allowed to have their opinions, and Eric Bland is very public on social media and websites and Twitter and YouTube and things like that, and he can absolutely defend himself. He's a very capable, competent, smart lawyer. So it has nothing to do with that, regardless of what you feel about
That's
him.
another thing I
But I'll
disagree
tell
with
you where I
Peter
think he
then.
stands when we read his tweet. But the other big thing about this is just because Alec Murdaugh is admitting he lied, the insurance company at the time could have, and they said they put investigators on the case and things like that, they could have determined whether or not he was lying. They didn't have to do what he said. Now, that may be unrealistic, but that is a potential point, number one. Number two, because he said that, there was nothing else that really went to prove what could have caused Gloria Satterfield's fall. It could have been a broken step at the house. It could have been a slippery floor. It could have been a million things that would still put liability on Alec Murdaugh. And at the time this was happening, he would have been a bad witness for Nautilus. And if this case would have gone to trial, the plaintiff still would have won, in my opinion. So just because he's proving he lied does not mean there is no claim or that the plaintiff would not have been able to win a claim, because we would have been able to flesh out and scrutinize whether or not EMS actually heard Gloria Satterfield say, "I don't know what I fell on." Was she in the right state of mind to even say that? Were the right engineers sent to the house to look for problems at the house where she fell? So all those what ifs and could be and shoulda, woulda, maybe, those are issues that we really don't know what would have happened. It's not like we have a video that proves what Alec Murdaugh said was a lie, because if we did have that, then even over and above his claims, it wouldn't have mattered and they wouldn't have had to pay. So to penalize Satterfield's families and lawyers for the work they've done and the damages they've suffered makes absolutely no sense to me in a court for justice, because we're big fans of justice. The public policy arguments make no sense to take the money from them and undo this settlement. So if they do, we will be talking about it, and we will not be talking kindly about the court's decision and what is the point of our justice system. Now, if we want to feel bad for the insurance company and they paid maybe more money than they had to, I would bet my Yeti right here, this lawyer, Yeti, I'd bet that and a whole lot more that they would have paid a lot of money regardless of what Alec Murdaugh said. This woman died. Her family was affected. And there were good lawyers on the case that were going to fight this case. They were going to pay. I have no doubt about that. And I think they know that, right? To give the insurance company some credit, I think they know that. That's why they did not put the Satterfields and Bland Richter on as defendants for this lawsuit. So I do think they know that. So I'm going to give them a little credit there. Okay. So let's see what Eric Bland has to say about this before we take off. Seems there is buzz because liar Alex now says he allegedly made up the story that Gloria Satterfield didn't fall down the Moselle stairs by his dogs. Now, here's where I'll disagree with Eric Bland a little bit. He probably did make it up. I mean, let's be honest. Everything this dude was doing was committing fraud to get money for himself. And this is just another example of that.
Thank you. Peter's just said what I was trying to say earlier on. Everyone knows that Alex is a liar. So how come that Eric Bland's now saying, "Oh, he's a liar"? Oh, but obviously, except for what he said about Gloria Satterfield. Fucking bullshit, Eric. He's full of fucking shit. Eric Bland is. Hate the guy so much because he is full of shit. He's a media whore. Anyway, sorry.
And it fits right in with what Alec Murdaugh, what his MO is. Since when did Alex become the modicum of honesty and credibility? A Colleton County jury said that he
Exactly.
is not credible. And Judge Gergel, in his later order with Lafitte, said he's not credible. Additionally, we recovered money for our clients from parties other than Nautilus for breaches of their duties to our clients and other claims. Correct. So it wouldn't be the full amount anyway. technically the money that Nautilus paid never came to our clients. I don't know if I agree there. Maybe he, I mean, obviously, let's be honest. He knows so much more about the situation in this case than I do. So if he says it, I'll take it at face value. So it never technically got there, but he could be meaning Nautilus paid Forge, Alec Murdaugh spent that money, and then they collected their money from Alec Murdaugh's assets like the house and stuff. So technically, maybe it never really directly came from Nautilus, but you get the
Leave
point that
Eric.
is being made by Nautilus or Alec Murdaugh. It was stolen by Alex. So there is an argument that they still owe it to our clients by releases signed by the parties. Ooh. So maybe that's a little, pounding his chest leverage. Like, Nautilus, you come after us. Maybe I'll look to you and say, you never actually even sent the money to us. We signed releases here. Maybe we'll refile the lawsuit because you did not hold up your end of the bargain in the release. You said you were going to pay our clients money. You never did. You never made sure it got to our clients. So that's on you. So maybe we'll look to you for some more cheddar. Now, I don't think he's doing that, but hey, it doesn't hurt to throw a little leverage out there. He's a trial lawyer. What do you expect? When we've got leverage, we talked about it the other day, it comes out. These insurers had investigators investigate the claim thoroughly before they paid on a claim. Yeah, they don't just take one person's statement and pay. They investigate, they do their due diligence, and they made the decision to pay at the end of the day. And it is not the fault of the Satterfields or their attorneys that they believed Alec Murdaugh, or their investigators and insurance adjusters and defense lawyers all recommended that they pay this claim. That is not Bland, Richter, Satterfield, or anybody else's fault on the plaintiff's side. It's a joke to think this money should be paid by the plaintiff or reimbursed by the plaintiffs. Again, regardless of what you think about anybody in this situation, these plaintiffs were damaged. Insurers are not in the business of paying out millions of dollars for frivolous or fraudulent claims. Ain't that the truth, Mr. Bland? Additionally, they also had lawyers who did their jobs and investigated the claim before it was paid. Absolutely never would a claim like this get paid without that. This is nothing but noise. Just gutless people trying to continue to victimize Gloria's siblings and children. EB. So again, Eric Bland does not want this case to turn into there was no negligence, therefore there should have been no payment because it could come from him and his clients. And I think he's right. Regardless of what the outcome is, regardless of what Nautilus could maybe collect from Alec Murdaugh, none of this should blow back on the Satterfields or their attorneys. That would be reprehensible, in my opinion. That would be piling on one wrong with another. So, this was a lot. This was really interesting to me. It's a lot to unpack. So let me know what you think in the comments, please. I want to engage with you in the comments on this issue. Let me know if you want us to follow this further, because this is more interesting than, another financial crime committed by Alec Murdaugh. Surprise, surprise, tax evasion. He was stealing from everybody else. He might as well steal from the government too. So let me know what you think in the comments, and please hit that like button on your way out. Share with any of your friends that were following the Murdaugh case. But that's all we got. Until next time. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know.
Thank you, Peter. I thought it was quite interesting. I think he's a little bit biased there, but not too much. So yeah, that's the gist of it. That's what I wanted to watch, just to see what he had to say. Yeah, so I misspoke. I thought he was friends with Eric Bland, but he's not. He's played golf with Rodney, his partner. Rodney's also blocked me for whatever reason on Twitter. I've never spoken to the guy. I don't believe that the Satterfield brothers will lose any money. I just don't see how this insurance company will do anything like that. That's just my, logic, personal belief. So I don't think Eric Bland and Ronnie Richer will lose any money. I'm glad the Satterfield brothers will get to keep their money, hopefully. A little bit because of my bias towards Eric Bland. I wish he lost all his money. Or in a way, I wish he gave all the money to Satterfield brothers. That's how much I hate him. Because my hate for Eric Bland comes from the fact that he lauded the Tony Satterfield, one of the brothers, in front of the media throughout the Alex Murdaugh trial, and just he was their name to get himself into the media all that time, and he's doing the same now with the Stephen Smith trial. I have zero respect for that guy or his company or anything like that. I've questioned him a lot of times about his ethics and why, he keeps saying he does all this work for free and the goodness of his heart, but then he forgets to tell people, yeah, but actually I'm still going to collect about probably 10 million um, from doing all this side works or side benefits I get. So he's a scumbag as far as I'm concerned. So I don't like him. People think he's whiter than white. Cool. But hopefully his true colours come out. He's definitely not somebody that I'd want representing me. I suppose if you want to win money, because he doesn't care, he literally is just as bad as Alex Murdaugh because he knew that Alex Murdaugh was lying. Everyone knew he was lying about the settlement with Gloria Satterfield, but he still took the money. And you can't say, he's speaking the truth about that one thing. No, you knew he was lying. You saw the millions in front of you and he wanted it. So he's just as bad as Alex Murdoch. There's a lot of them. And now he's on a media tour again now, pumping his chest out. So got no respect for him. I'd rather call people out like that. I hate him. I zero respect for the guy. Uh, I wish he'd just concentrate on being a lawyer rather than in the media. That's my opinion on him. So I'm not sure why well stinks. Rumble, you've not mentioned anything, but yeah, that's all I got really. It was just to watch that. I wanted to test my voice. Idaho series, not series, episode 3. I think we need to record it. Couldn't record it last weekend because of my illness. So hopefully, me and Morgan will be recording that ASAP as she's busy with work at the minute. So yeah, between now and the weekend, hopefully we get it recorded, and then we're up to speed then with Idaho. And yeah, I have to cleanse off my Twitter as well, just blocking people and trying to get back to normal on there. And yeah, don't know. Hopefully get the Idaho series going, get some more videos out, get a stream going. Hopefully that everyone's got a bit of interest in. I'm not sure if there's one coming up or not, but I'm not going to push it. You know, we'll go as it is. So, Stacey, thanks for being here. Um, Thank you to you. Thank you, whoever else is here, and thank you to Rumble as well. It's lovely to see you. Um, so yeah, probably I'll say another video coming out probably soonish, Stacey. Then hopefully a stream before long, hopefully next week. Um, so yeah, with that, thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da! And you